My name is Elena M. Torres, and I am 29 years old. 3 weeks ago, I got a text that nuked my entire world. It came in on a Tuesday while I was at work, sandwiched between a calendar reminder and a coffee spill. I need space to find myself. This isn't about you. It's about me discovering who I really am outside of this relationship. I'm staying with Brianna for a while. Please don't contact me. 5 years together, and that was it. No call, no conversation. Just a neatly packaged exit with a self-help bow on top. I sat in my car for an hour after work, staring at the steering wheel, reading the text again and again like it might change. I kept thinking about all the normal things we'd done the week before. Groceries, laundry, the way he asked if we should repaint the hallway. None of it matched the finality of that message. When I finally went home, the house answered every question I was too afraid to ask. His closet was empty, his bathroom shelf cleared. The desk we shared was stripped down to dust rings. He even took the coffee maker he bought last Christmas. His key was on the kitchen counter, placed carefully, like courtesy could soften abandonment. I texted back one sentence. Take all the space you need. I meant it. Not because I was calm, but because I was done begging for a conversation someone else had already ended. Then I did the most practical thing I could think of. I called Trevor. He's a real estate agent and a friend, the kind who answers late and asks questions later. I told him I might want to sell. He came by that evening, walked the rooms, ran the comps, and raised his eyebrows so high I laughed for the first time all day. The neighborhood had gentrified hard. Even after fees and taxes, I'd clear about $140,000 in profit. How fast can we move? I asked. He didn't hesitate. Price it right. Days. Here's the part my ex didn't know. The house we lived in wasn't a rental. I bought it 4 years ago when my grandmother passed and left me enough for a down payment. Early in our relationship, he made a big point about not flaunting wealth, about valuing authenticity over money. I agreed. I kept it simple. Told him I found a great rental through a family friend. He paid me $600 a month for his half, which I put straight toward the mortgage. I didn't lie about the payments. I just didn't correct his assumption. I thought we were building a life, not keeping score. By Thursday, the house was listed. By Sunday, we had 4 offers. I accepted $115,000 over asking with a 30-day close. I found a clean 1-bedroom closer to work, put down a deposit, and started packing. While I wrapped plates, he posted sunsets, inspirational quotes, captions about courage and authenticity. His friends cheered him on. Yes, King. Proud of you for choosing yourself. I scheduled viewings and ignored the noise. Then Brianna texted. Hey, Elena. He wanted me to ask if you're paid up through next month on rent. He needs to know for budgeting. I replied once. The house situation is handled. He doesn't need to worry about it. 20 minutes later, my phone lit up. Calls I didn't answer. Messages stacking fast. What do you mean handled? Please answer. This is about logistics, I finally responded. You asked for space and no contact. I'm respecting that. The house doesn't concern you anymore. That night he called 14 times. I turned off my phone and went to a movie. I cried in the dark, then laughed at a joke I didn't hear, then walked home lighter than I expected. Space, after all, was abundant. The next day, he showed up at my work. Not a text, not a warning. Just him, waiting in the parking lot like the breakup rules only applied when they benefited him. I was heading out for lunch when I saw his car idling near the exit, Brianna in the driver's seat like a getaway driver in a low-budget crime movie. He stepped out, blocking my path with that familiar expression he used when he wanted to sound reasonable while asking for something unreasonable. We need to talk, he said. He looked rough, hair pulled into a messy knot, dark circles under his eyes, wearing the same college sweatshirt he'd had since we met. You asked for no contact, I said, continuing toward my car. That was about emotional stuff, he replied, quick and sharp. This is about where we live. I stopped. Where we live, I repeated. You moved out. You're living your authentic life with Brianna now. He scoffed. I was taking temporary space. I always planned to come back once I figured things out. You can't just... What did you do with our house? There is no our house, I said. You ended the relationship by text. You moved out. You don't have a house. His face went white. What about my stuff? He asked. My furniture, the couch, the bed, the TV. I blinked. You took your stuff when you left. What furniture? He did that thing he always did, the collective language. We bought things. We didn't. He'd thrown $20 toward an $800 couch and called it ours. I never corrected him because I thought we were building a future, not preparing a deposition. You can't just kick me out, he said, voice rising. I've been paying rent for 3 years. That arrangement ended when you ended our relationship and voluntarily vacated, I replied. Brianna finally got out of the car. This is financial abuse, she said, loud enough for people to hear. You're leaving him homeless. I met her eyes. He left himself homeless when he chose to move out. I'm not his landlord. I was his girlfriend. He ended that. I got in my car and drove away while they followed for 3 blocks before peeling off. That night, the social media campaign began. Long posts about manipulation, comments about power imbalances. People who'd never paid a bill in that house suddenly had opinions about who deserved it. Someone found my LinkedIn and messaged my coworkers calling me abusive. I didn't respond. I called a lawyer friend instead. He laughed so hard he choked on his coffee. He has 0 legal standing, he said. Month-to-month tenant who voluntarily vacated. You're fine. Then his mom called. I'd always liked her, so I answered. Elena, honey, what's going on? She asked, worried. He says you're selling his home. He ended the relationship by text and moved out, I said. I'm moving forward. Long pause. He did what? She asked. I forwarded the screenshot. She went quiet. I'll talk to him, she said. By the end of the week, we were under contract. I put my deposit down on the new apartment and started packing the last boxes. That's when things got stupid. He tried sympathy through his sister, then threats through Brianna's boyfriend, a wannabe tough guy who backpedaled the second I asked if he was threatening me. I recorded the call anyway. Then, during final cleaning before closing, I heard the front door unlock. I turned and saw him walk in with a locksmith. I live here, he said. I lost my key. The locksmith looked confused. I showed my ID with my new address and the closing documents. Ma'am, the locksmith said to him, backing toward the door, I can't change locks on a property you don't own. He lost it. Full meltdown. Accusations. Shouting. He sat on the floor and refused to leave. I started recording. You're trespassing, I said. Bien, this is my home. He screamed that I stole it. The cops arrived in 10 minutes. He claimed tenant rights. They asked for proof, lease, mail, anything. He had nothing. All his mail had been going to Brianna's for weeks. The officers escorted him out while he cried and threatened lawsuits. The female officer pulled me aside. Consider a restraining order, she said quietly. That night, Brianna's mom texted me asking if I could help with a deposit somewhere. I didn't reply. The next morning, I learned he'd made a GoFundMe with a story about being locked out of his home by a narcissistic ex. It raised $300 before someone reported it with screenshots of his own posts about leaving to find himself. GoFundMe shut it down. He tried one last legal bluff, claiming we were common law married. Our state doesn't recognize it. Even if it did, we didn't qualify. My lawyer sent a cease and desist. His lawyer dropped him. Then came the midnight text. I'm pregnant. We need to talk about our future. I stared at the screen, calm in a way that surprised me. I replied, Interesting, since I had a vasectomy 2 years ago. Congratulations on the miracle. Either way, not my problem. 3 days of silence, then an admission. He wasn't pregnant. He was desperate. Brianna kicked him out. Even she had limits. 2 months after that first text about needing space, the house closed. Smooth as butter. The check cleared. I moved into my new apartment with a view of the city instead of a driveway full of memories. It's smaller, sure, but it feels like oxygen. No echoes of promises that turned out to be placeholders. No corners where I expected to see him standing and then had to remember he chose to leave. Freedom has a square footage of its own. He tried the sympathy angle again after the sale. A long email about growth and accountability, about how this experience taught him so much about himself. Buried near the bottom was the real point. He was struggling financially. He hoped we could be friends. He hoped I could help, just a little, because karma had come full circle, and he was learning humility. I didn't reply. Instead, I forwarded the email to his dad with one line: "You might want to talk to him about taking responsibility." His dad replied an hour later: "We're working on it. I'm sorry for everything." The social media noise died down when there was nothing left to shout about. His friends stopped posting quotes. His journey fizzled when it required actual effort instead of captions. He moved back in with his parents. From the grapevine, I heard he was working reception at his mom's dental office and hating every minute. The irony didn't make me smile. It just felt like the natural end of a story that began with entitlement and confusion about what space actually costs. I kept thinking about the $600 a month he paid me. 3 years of checks that I'd saved in a separate account because I thought we were building toward something together. I decided to do something with it that didn't involve either of us. I donated the entire amount to a local housing shelter. I posted the receipt with a single caption: "Supporting people who actually need housing assistance." It was petty, maybe. It was also honest. I changed my routines. New gym, new coffee shop, new habits that weren't negotiated. I started therapy, not because I was broken, but because I wanted to understand why I stayed quiet when assumptions were made on my behalf, why I let "we" replace me in conversations about money and plans. Therapy gave me language. It also gave me peace. He reached out one last time with a long message about forgiveness and closure and how he hoped we could meet someday to talk things through like adults. I didn't respond. Closure doesn't require a meeting when the facts have already done their work. He asked for space. I gave him exactly what he asked for: space from my home, space from my finances, space from my future. I started dating again, carefully, with curiosity instead of urgency. On first dates, I joke about the basics. "Any surprise housing claims I should know about?" People laugh. I watch how they laugh. You learn to listen differently after someone mistakes access for entitlement. Last week, Brianna apologized. She said she didn't know about the house. She felt used. I told her there were no hard feelings, but asked her to lose my number. Boundaries are only effective if you enforce them consistently. My LinkedIn is quiet now. My phone stays quiet. My nights are quiet in a way that feels earned. When someone asks if I feel bad, if I regret not smoothing things over, the answer is simple: no. He wanted to find himself. He did. He found a person who believed space meant consequences wouldn't follow. The lesson isn't revenge, it's clarity. When someone shows you who they are with their choices, believe them. And when they ask for space, don't argue. Open the door. Let the space be as wide as it needs to be.